What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Into the Bengal-Verse podcast. I am your host, Mario, giving you all an in-depth look of your Cincinnati Bengals. So, if you're new here or returning, please be sure to leave a like, subscribe, comment, hit that notification bell to stay up to date with your Bengals news from me. So, as we get started, we are going into week 2. So excited that football's back, and we are previewing the Bengals-Bears. So, week 1, we played the Minnesota Vikings. I think we're all pretty happy about that. Pretty happy with those results for the most part, even though there's some things that we could do a whole lot better. So, when you look here, we're headed to Soldier Field. We're going to be dealing with a very hectic fan base that's going to be cheering the roof off for Justin Fields to go in. Now, the last time the Bengals have played a team like this, it was the Ravens in 2018 when A.J. Green had that hat trick, 3 touchdowns before the half. And they were screaming for Lamar to go in. And it was in Cincinnati. And the fans were just begging for Lamar to go in. So that was the last time that we had to deal with a situation like that, or at least going against a situation like that. And even though we're going against Andy Dalton, I think we want to play really well for the most part, but to be honest, I kind of hope the Bengals don't dominate. I mean, it sounds crazy, doesn't it? Because you want to dominate the whole game. I hope the Bengals play well, but not too well to the point where they have no choice but to put Justin Fields in, because that could honestly throw off your game plan, and he brings a whole new dynamic to the game. Bengals won't be able to run man because they'll have to respect his speed. They'll have to pretty much play in zone. And then from there, if Justin Fields, with his talent, and let's say he's truly ready to play right now, which I believe he is, he could possibly carve us up. Because we've been carved up by Lamar every time, other than, I will say this, when we played Lamar in Baltimore, people don't want to believe it, but we only held him to 2 rushing yards. And I stand by that. The only time, I know I'm getting off a little sidetracked here, but when we play Baltimore, I'm worried about us scoring on them, which I believe we finally will be able to do, not Lamar going crazy on us. And I know it sounds crazy. You got to see it to believe it. But when we were healthy for the most part, we had DJ Reader. We were able to stop Lamar. So I think we could stop Justin Fields, but we'll see. So the Bears are coming off a loss to the Rams. They lost pretty bad, 34-14. And what can I say? I mean, this team is not the Bears that we know for the most part. The defense has not looked like the Bears defense that they have had with Eddie Jackson, Roquan Smith, Akeem Hicks, and, oh yeah, what's that guy's name? Khalil Mack. I looked this up, and did you know that he's only had a few sacks in the last 9 games? I believe the number is 2. That is not the Khalil Mack that we all know. And I don't want to say this. I don't want to jinx it because I want to say that we're going to be able to put up points on them, which I think we can. But the problem is, you don't want to be that team that this defense gets right against. And it's week 1. Let's say that they were just having a really bad week 1, and then they just get right against us. This could be a really hard game. This could be a bloodbath for all we know. Khalil Mack hasn't been getting those sacks, but you know what? He could go off for a 3-sack game in a given moment. You have to respect Khalil Mack. We don't know what's going to happen there. Anything can happen. And, for the most part, I'm pretty comfortable. I mean, hopefully they don't put Drew Sample blocking like they had him in that play against Daniel Hunter. I don't think any of us want to see that. So, here we are. Bengals offense versus this Bears defense. That's going to be a very interesting matchup. Just like watching the Bears offense versus our defense, because David Montgomery, I believe, is second in rushing, right behind Mixon. So that should be an interesting battle between those 2 running backs. Mixon, by the way, won FedEx Ground Player of the Week. Shout out to Evan McPherson. I believe it was special AFC Special Teams Player of the Week. And then you had Jamar Chase, who won Rookie of the Week. So that's great to see from all those guys. You want that to keep going. I mean, you're not going to see a Bengal win it every week. But you know what? That was a great start. Love to see it from those guys. So here we are. Looking at the injury report, Trey Wayne's out again. They're just being safe with him. I mean, maybe he'll play against Pittsburgh. That would be nice, having that to deal with the run game. And then we have Ricardo Allen, who will be out, unfortunately, for the next 3 weeks. He's dealing with a hamstring strain and a broken hand. That sucks. You hate to see it. But for the most part, hey, knock on wood, but these injuries that the Bengals have had, other than Joseph Ossai, and even then he was like a rotational third-down pass rusher, it's only been to backups for the most part. So we'll see who'll fill in behind there in that third safety role. It could be Trayvon Henderson. It could be more Brandon Wilson getting some backup safety snaps, even though he's been a special teamer, mostly for the most part of his Bengals tenure as a really solid kick returner, by the way. Even though he had a pretty bad, what's the word I'm looking for? When he brought the ball out and he ran horizontally, not north and south. You know, you always want to run north and south and kick off, and he kind of put us in a bad situation there in that part of the game against the Vikings. But, like I said, no Ricardo Allen, no Trey Waynes, so Eli Apple will be getting another start. And the coaches seem to really like him. I know he used to be in the Giants when Louis Anarumo was there. And Eli Apple, they said that he didn't give up any explosive plays. And, you know, one could disagree because he had that missed tackle in 3rd and 24 and then the holding call, which led to the Vikings pretty much going all the way up the field. And then he let up a touchdown. So, you know, might not have been a 50-yard touchdown, but that was pretty bad. So I thought Eli Apple did okay. I don't think he did as bad as people really wanted to make it out to be. But he'll be playing again. I mean, hopefully he bounces back. And then Chidobe Awuzie, look for him to be guarding Allen Robinson. Look for Eli Apple to be on Darnell Mooney if he's on the other outside. And then, you know, Mike Hilton, hopefully he still gets to roam and just help on the run game, blitz packages, and just causes a problem for Andy Dalton, because he was a problem for Andy Dalton when he was in Pittsburgh and Dalton was a Bengal. So we're 3-point underdogs going into this game. We were also underdogs when we were playing Minnesota, and that pretty much means if you're only 3-point underdogs, it pretty much means that it's just we were underdogs in Cincinnati, but the 3-point underdog thing, they're only doing that just because they're home. For the most part, they're saying this is a very close game. That's what Vegas is saying. It's a very close game, and they're just giving it to the home advantage. So if you are a Bengals fan, you feel confident in that bet, I wouldn't advise against you to not bet. I mean, anything could happen any given Sunday, but I'm pretty confident that we can win this game. So, yeah, the only reason that that we're underdogs is because they have home field advantage. So, key matchups of the game. Riley Reiff had a pretty solid week last week, along with Jonah Williams. Jonah Williams was graded about an 84 for PFF, and Riley Reiff was graded in the mid-70s. So you'll take that from our tackles any day of the week. And I believe that they were the only duo that both had a 70 or higher. Or I just know that they were one of the only duos that had like the 70s or higher. So Riley Reiff versus Khalil Mack. Khalil Mack's been on the Bears for a few years now, so he's gone against Riley Reiff plenty of times. And I mean, I've seen Riley Reiff get tossed around by Khalil Mack before, but for the most part, Riley Reiff has held his own. So I trust Riley Reiff to block Khalil Mack. And like I said, Khalil Mack hasn't really shown up for, you know, X amount of games. He just hasn't really been playing up to what people say he is as a world beater pass rusher. But once again, he's Khalil Mack. You still have to respect him. He's still solid. He's not a scrub by any means. Just hasn't been able to finish off the quarterback as of late. So that's a matchup of the game. If Khalil Mack gets going, that could be a real problem for this offense. So hopefully we scratch him off. Don't have to worry about him. Riley Reiff can stalemate him or whatever the case may be. Chidobe Awuzie versus Allen Robinson. Hopefully Chidobe Awuzie carries that momentum that he's had all training camp, all preseason, into this matchup versus Allen Robinson. Looking to get off to a really solid start of the year. He already has in week 1. Hopefully he carries this forward into week 2. We have Akeem Hicks. Big, solid, pretty much D-tackle build that can line up inside, but usually lines up at left end because they usually run a 3-4 in Chicago. So hopefully, like I said, Khalil Mack, Akeem Hicks, and Eddie Goldman, we don't know if he's going to play or not yet, but if he plays, you know, that's a really solid D-line you're looking at, or at least a front 7 because they also have Roquan Smith. So hopefully we're able to block these guys, scheme our offense to be able to neutralize these guys, and pretty much go from there. So hopefully we're able to figure that out with our front seven. We're able to run the ball, set up the nice play action that we were last week, and hopefully Burrow could throw for 3 touchdowns and not 2 and not miss on a play like that he did at Mike Thomas, which sucked, but, what are you going to do? So I covered that, and here we are with the Bengals front seven versus the run game. I believe that we will be able to contain David Montgomery better than we did Dalvin Cook. And that's Dalvin Cook. He's the soul and heartbeat of that offense in Minnesota. Arguably a top 3 back. Probably he's a top 3 back in this league, depending on who you're talking to. And I believe that our front seven will be able to pretty much get off to that solid start. We'll be able to do pretty good against these guys. And yeah, he's top 5 in rushing right now, but that doesn't mean we can't hold him to under 100 total yards. Is that too much to ask for? With how DJ Reader's been playing, Larry Ogunjobi, Trey Hendrickson, and Sam Hubbard, and the way our linebackers played, both Logan Wilson and Jermaine Pratt, graded out at 70s, or at least low 70s. You'll take that. I believe PFF standard grading. It's not like homework. It's not like if you get a 90, that's an A. Like, I'm pretty sure if you get at least, I believe it's a 60, that's average. I believe 60 is the average, like, starting point for PFF. I'll have to go back, and if I'm wrong, I'll completely correct myself. But, hey, our linebackers have been playing solid. The defense has been playing solid. I don't see why we can't play well against this run game. And the Bears didn't even really take many deep shots against the Rams because they really couldn't. I mean, Aaron Donald, that D-line, was causing them heck all game. And every time Andy Dalton's gone against Jalen Ramsey, it just has been fun for him. So I think we can tee off on Andy as much as I respect him and I love him. I think we're going to tee off on him. I think he's going to be in for a long day if we can play how I believe we can play. So yeah, I believe we'll be able to tee off on them while we're on defense. I'm feeling very high and confident and mighty because I know that it was week 1 and the way we played, that's a great starting point for how we can continue and edit and just pretty much fix everything we need to fix in film, fix everything we need to fix out on the practice field, and take it and translate it into week 2 and so on and so forth. Last key matchup of the game, I would say, is Joe Burrow versus the secondary. Like I said, this Bears defense has just not been playing how we've used to seeing them play, at least for this 1 week. And we saw the Rams. Matt Stafford is the first quarterback ever to switch teams and throw for, I believe, over 300 yards and 3 passing touchdowns. And he hit 2 bombs. I believe it might have even been 3 against this Bears defense. So hopefully Joe Burrow, for people that are still doubting the deep ball, even though he hit a very beautifully thrown ball, iconic play, by the way, to Jamar Chase. It's iconic in the sense that they hit pretty much the same play in the championship against Clemson, and LSU made a sick edit of that touchdown. I can't stop watching. It's absolutely wonderful. So hopefully Jamar can carry that momentum. T. Higgins can go off. I really hope that everyone eats. I don't know why. Tyler Boyd had some clutch catches. He just wasn't featured as much as the other guys last week. Hopefully this is a game where he can torch this defense in the slot. I just had that feeling because when you have 3 elite receivers, we saw this against Tampa Bay. Not everyone can go off. Sometimes you have to pick and choose your matchups, and I think this can be a week where Tyler Boyd goes off. And I think Joe Burrow has a chance to not only show, hey Andy, I'm gonna do better than you ever have, and I'm gonna beat you, buddy. Andy Dalton beat us last year when he was with Dallas, and we had so many injuries at that point. Burrow wasn't playing. They killed us in Cincinnati. I'm sure that he was smiling the whole time, and he was very happy about that. But you know what, Andy? You're going to be 1-1 against your former team after we play you. Nah, I'm just kidding. We'll see what happens. Hopefully we do, though. That's obviously the goal. That is what we want to see as Bengals fans. So, like I said, hopefully Joe Burrow carves up this defense with that play action. We don't want to see Burrow taking constant 7-step dropbacks. And I believe we'll be able to run the ball better than the Rams did because they couldn't. I mean, yes, they've had injuries to Cam Akers and Darrell Henderson. They don't know if he's the answer yet. They traded for Sony Michel. So we'll see what happens there. But, yeah, those are the key matchups of the game. Fantasy predictions. I'm going to try and do that, before every game. So during the matchup preview. I think this is a game where Joe Mixon gets a touchdown. I think he'll get a good chunk of yards. So if you have him in fantasy, hopefully, barring any injuries, which you don't want, he'll be in for a good game. I think Jamar won't get a touchdown this game, but I do think that he'll get a good amount of yards and some catches. Tyler Boyd, I think he can get 2 touchdowns and a good amount of yards. And if you're playing if you're playing PPR, that should bode well for you, especially given that I have him getting 7 catches. These are just predictions. I'm just doing this for fun. I think I'm gonna do this every time. Like I said, just to see and if I could even get close to what these guys actually get, And then I have T. Higgins, 8 catches for 75 yards, no touchdowns. So Bengals score 3 touchdowns in this prediction, and I'm sure Evan McPherson will hit a field goal or whatnot. But the Rams put up 34 points on them. Yeah, 30. They beat them 34-14. So hopefully we can put up 25 plus, just as easy. That's the goal because we're striving to have a top 10 offense. We're striving to be in every game we play, and our offense not being the reason that we lose. And yeah, you heard the matchups, you heard the predictions, you heard the game notes. So yeah, I'm gonna be giving my review of the game, my post game review after either the game Sunday night or Monday. So stay tuned for that. I really think that the Bengals have a chance to go 2-0 heading to Pittsburgh because we play in Heinz Field week 3, which is going to be a tough game. Honestly, I think we might split with them. I want to say that we'll sweep them, but the way they played the Bills, can we really be confident and sure that that's going to be the case? So we'll see what happens there. But anyways, that's going to do it for the Into the Bengal-Verse podcast. That's going to do it for this preview. Hopefully we go 2-0. That's the goal. That's the end game. I'm just kidding. That's obviously the start. The season's just begun. Football's here. So much to be happy about. Even if we lose, I'll be upset because something catastrophic might honestly have to happen for that to be the case. But I'm really confident going into this game. Very, very confident. Hopefully we win, like I said. Hopefully Trey Waynes gets back next week. Hopefully Eli Apple does good. I want to be able to cheer for every position, not have to be frustrated with anything. Okay? That's the goal. I hate harshly critiquing players, especially the ones that play for us, but you know what? Sometimes you got to do what you got to do. So, anyways, I'll see you. I'm going to give you guys my thoughts and concerns, hopefully no concerns, for the post game, and that's going to do it, like I said, for the Into the Bengal-Verse podcast. I've been your host, Mario. Hope you all have a lovely weekend. If you're in school, do your homework. And yeah, like I said, hopefully you all have a great weekend, so take care.